Hello, everyone. The BBC just released another documentary about the Tates to bring them down, which is again, of course, hilarious. Please leave a like on this video and subscribe. Let's get into it.
Evidence compiled by Romanian prosecutors alleging that Andrew Tate coerced women into sexual acts have been seen by the BBC. Both Andrew Tate and his brother are facing trial in Romania for human trafficking and forming an organised criminal group with two other defendants. Andrew Tate is also facing a charge of rape. They deny all the charges against them. Here's Lucy Williamson.
Over hundreds of pages, Romanian prosecutors outlined the testimony and the evidence they say they've gathered against Andrew Tate. It includes transcriptions of what the prosecution says are text and audio messages which appear to show how the alleged trafficking operation was managed and the apparent coercion, control and abuse of women by Mr. Tate and his co-defendants. In one transcribed exchange, Andrew Tate appears to coerce an alleged victim into groups using abusive language. His brother Tristan is also quoted in prosecution transcripts, allegedly talking about slaving women for 10 to 12 hours a day. The BBC can't verify whether these transcripts are accurate because the original evidence is not included in the 300-page summary that we've seen. In that summary, the prosecution also says that women were forced by the defendants to make pornographic content online and alleges that some women did not control the money they made and were fined for crying on camera or for not working hard enough. A spokeswoman for the Tate brothers said that they vehemently denied the serious allegations against them and accused the BBC of lacking impartiality, but she didn't provide any detail or respond to the specific allegations we raised. Defence lawyers are expected to challenge the prosecution evidence in a...
The big bombshell has dropped. Ladies and gentlemen, if you trust the BBC, I'm going to tell you they actually got something right. The BBC got access to the case file, the indictment that was submitted to judges to say these men are human traffickers and these men are guilty. Now, this is a bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, and the BBC actually reported factually. So you would think, after 1.5 years of investigating me, after spying on me and following me for 6 months, after locking me in a prison cell for 3 months, after going through every electronic device I have ever owned, after searching every property that I have ever had, after talking to every girl who I have ever made love with, they have completed this indictment to show the judge that I'm a human trafficker, and the BBC have got their hands on it. And the BBC are leaking information from the file. So given the millions of dollars spent, trying to prove I'm something I'm not, given the massive amounts of human resources used to try to prove that I'm a human trafficker, the indictment says, the bombshell, the worst thing the BBC could possibly find, because believe me, they want to find the worst thing, is that I once referred to my girlfriend as a slave. Think about that. BBC, if you're listening, that isn't the bombshell that you think it is. If I were a left-wing political pundit and a social justice warrior and somebody who used virtue signaling like you all do when you cover up pedophiles and sex offenders like Hugh Edwards, if I were like you and you found a message of me saying to my ex-girlfriend, "You're my slave," you could probably leak that and get me fired from a job at the BBC. But let me tell you something. I did write that. All of my WhatsApp conversations for my last 4 years were read in fine detail by the authorities to try to prove that I'm a human trafficker, okay? I did in fact write that my ex-girlfriend was my slave. Now, here's the important takeaways from that. Can you imagine what should be in this case file? If I am the man they say I am, there should be chains, dungeons, handcuffs, urine-stained mattresses, messages saying, "Bitch, get back out on the street," me selling people, transactions, "I'll meet you here, I have 3 girls for sale," proof anyone traveled anywhere, Me physically moving people from one place to another. That's what human trafficking is. Why, if the BBC got their hands on the indictment, do they print a story that says, I called my ex-girlfriend a slave? Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the great bombshell. The BBC lined this up for me. That is as bad as the evidence against me gets, which is insane. Because the girl who I called a slave, obviously as a joke, one, did not make a complaint about me, two, is protesting that I'm innocent, three, has told everybody I'm a lovely person, and four, it's not even about the girls who lied and came here. I wasn't even talking about them when I said someone's my slave. So you have to ask yourself a question. Does me once saying on WhatsApp, oh, don't worry, she'll clean the house, she's my slave, does that merit locking me, my brother, and my friends up in a fucking prison for 3 months, subjecting us and our families to the worst forms of physical and psychological torture, locking us in our houses? I haven't been free since December 2022. I'm still not free now. If I leave the city limits of Bucharest, I will be arrested and thrown back in jail because I once said a girl is my slave. I did say that, BBC. You got that right. But you have miscalculated how underwhelming that is as a bombshell after this level of media storm and investigation. Yeah. Let me give you another example while I light my cigar with my $55,000 lighter. If you're one of the investigators, obviously trying to put me in jail, if you're an immoral person, you'll never own one of these. Gotta put God first. Start doing the right thing.
The BBC is printing another hit piece. They're also releasing a quote-unquote documentary about me of obvious BS. They asked me for a statement. I sent this. Overwhelming evidence that exonerates the two brothers and paints a clear picture of a false accusation has been widely available for weeks now. The BBC has covered none of it. Reputable journalists such as Candace Owens have broken down this evidence and laid it out in detail. We are grateful more people watch your podcast than watch the biased BBC. But yeah guys, give me your thoughts on this in the comments below. That's it, and I'm out.